Hey, it's Mike Brennan. We're back. Matt is out right now dealing with some personal issues, and we have calling in from, I think, the Lansing area, Bobby Chasnis, who's the director of the Pure Michigan Business Connect program, which we'll explain shortly, and Colin Dillon, who's going to be talking about, also from, is it MEDC? Is that who you work with, Colin?
Yeah. Both of the Pure Michigan Business Connect program are what we're both on, and that's within the Michigan Economic Development Corporation.
Got it. Okay. So, and you're going to be talking about something I just heard about last week, Michigan's Arsenal of Innovation Plan. So, who wants to kick it off? You want to talk about what do you want to talk about? Pure Michigan Connect. Probably should start with that because that's been around for a while, and now it's morphed into, or it was morphed into supplying PPEs and that sort of thing. So, why don't we start with that, and then we'll go into the Arsenal of Innovation.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be happy to, and then I can kick it over to Colin to add any color that I missed. But so Pure Michigan Business Connect, it's the program that we both work on. It's been around since about 2011, and overall over the past several years, we've facilitated over $11 billion to suppliers in the state. Now, really what our program does is makes matches or hooks up the Michigan suppliers to global, international, and domestic demand. We are industry agnostic, so we work in pretty much every industry you can imagine, from agriculture, automotive, aerospace, even fashion industry, and we look to uncover the demand that our suppliers here in the state can fulfill. So really ultimately looking to increase Michigan business. Like I said, from this COVID response, immediately after, we received some of the news that, we'd be looking to manufacture PPE, our program had kind of enlisted or developed a platform to help the suppliers and the buyers of PPE kind of get connected with each other. So Colin on the team has been pretty instrumental in developing kind of that platform, which is completely free to access for all of our Michigan companies. But what it does is really intake some of the questions for the supply side and then match that up for the demand side that we have regarding PPE. Now, really quickly, I guess bouncing right into Arsenal of Innovation is what we've looked to do with primarily a marketing campaign, but with obviously the outbreak of COVID-19 and, everything going on and kind of the large shortage of PPE, not only in our area, but globally, what we've done is, really just had an incredible response to the emergency to be able to take some of those smaller or medium manufacturers, even all the way up to the tier ones and tier twos, and the big three automotive suppliers. But what we've been able to do is kind of pivot their ability to produce PPE or other forms of protective equipment to be able to kind of supply that in a kind of a non-traditional aspect for companies not only in the state but out of state looking to get back to work. So, Colin, I don't know if I missed anything or that you wanted to mention.
Well, I think, so Pure Michigan Business Connect, I think, is a primary example of what this arsenal of innovation idea really is. And that's, our program leading up to COVID, like a lot of program, states here in the U.S., it wasn't something that medical technology, PPE, things like that weren't things that our program had done a lot of. We hadn't really focused on that. We've done some stuff with Med Health throughout the years, but the PPE stuff was something that came along very quickly, and our program being as flexible as it is, I think highlights some of the programming that you'll see from the MEDC over the coming years, as far as programming that's a little bit more flexible to respond to needs that come up, particularly as we emerge out of the economic downturn that has been caused by the virus. But real quick, I can just highlight some of the things that we've focused on for the program. So right now, the Pure Michigan Business Connect program has an online business-to-business connection platform where both suppliers and buyers can connect effectively. And the way that looks is, if your business needs PPE items, and that can be everything from masks and face shields and gloves, things like that, all the way up to ventilators, powered respiratory devices, things like that, as well as non-traditional PPE stuff like the temporary walls and dividers, maybe some spray systems for sanitizers, things like that companies are still going to need to respond, particularly as we're reopened. And we're not just dealing with the physical items, but as people are back in manufacturing facilities or offices or grocery stores or retail stores or whatever it may be, things that you need to make sure that your employees and customers and everything are safe. There's also stuff there. So you can log into the demand form and input there what it is that you need. It's pretty straightforward. There's I think about close to 24 choices that you can make for PPE stuff. It's a short form, shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes to fill out. And then from there, once you've completed that, you'll have access to the supplier list that we have available for each one of those specific items. And the suppliers work very much the same way. So if you're a company that supplies PPE items or PPE adjacent items, other safety products, what you can do is you can log on, same website, and we'll make sure that we distribute links. Mike, whichever way is the easiest way for us to do that following this.
You can give them right now if you want, and then we'll in the edit I'll actually add those.
Okay. So the site is michiganbusiness.org /PPE, or I'm sorry, hold on. Let me make sure I get it correct here. So it's pmbc.connect.space/COVID-19/forms. So that's PMBC as in Pure Michigan Business Connect.connect.space/COVID-19/forms.
Okay.
So suppliers can go in there and say, hey, yes, we can supply these products. There's a manufacturing, if you manufacture the products or if you just have them. And then once we get that information, there's maybe some follow-up questions that we'll ask just to make sure that we're distributing all the right information. But the buyers will all have access to the supplier list, and from there they can reach out to the suppliers directly as a way of hopefully making the communication process between demand and supply as efficient as possible. So far, we've had a little more than 3,400 demand requests come through the platform. We got a big bump when the governor mentioned us in a press conference about a month ago and highlighted the platform as well as some additional marketing that the MEDC has done to promote the platform. It's open, like Bobby said, it's completely free of charge for companies to submit either their demand or their needs. They'll obviously need to procure the items from the businesses that are listed, but we've got about, I think, latest count, about 260, maybe 270 supplier companies from Michigan on the list. When purchasers download the list, there's a matrix at the beginning of the workbook. It's an Excel workbook that you can download that has all of the suppliers listed. It has their locations, and then for each of the PPE items, it has just an X in a box. And so you can see if a company offers multiple things. We know that oftentimes companies need multiple things, and so it's helpful to know, all right, I can reach out to this company and they can hopefully help me out with everything that I need to find. Otherwise, you can easily see, and then you can cross-reference the contact information in the additional tabs. And really, that's from the PMBC perspective as far as how the platform works. I think that's pretty straightforward, and it's what we've been able to determine is the most efficient way of doing this. Ideally, the way that our program works on a non-COVID basis, when we're doing our traditional matchmaking, is a little bit more personalized and a little bit more concierge as far as making sure that we're making direct connections to hopefully get conversations started for procurement as quickly as possible. Given the amount of demand that we've seen for this, though, and knowing that that's still going on, and us wanting to make sure that we get information in front of businesses as quickly as possible, this is what we've settled on. Obviously, if anyone has any questions, they can send me an email. Is the easiest way. My email address is Dillon, Dillon, C in the numeral 1 at michigan.org. And if you have any questions about the platform and getting a form submitted or anything on our website, we can get those questions answered for you. But I think that the thing, to kind of segue into what Bobby and I, or what Bobby can talk about, and I can certainly chime in on this. I think that one of the things that has made Michigan so adept at handling this crisis, and something that has been valuable for Michigan businesses as far as how they've been able to respond, is we have a lot of manufacturers in the state that have switched over production or added production of PPE to their portfolios. That's been incredibly valuable for us to make sure that we're able to recommend a constant stream of businesses, and hopefully people have found that to be helpful. But I think it highlights really the flexibility and strength of Michigan's manufacturing industry, not just for the things that people may think of as far as automotive and maybe aerospace and tool and die and some other things like that. But a lot of the manufacturers can play in multiple industries and have the talent and the ability to identify opportunities, quickly transition into those, and then make an impact. And I think that the arsenal of innovation programming, and highlighting that the MEDC is looking to do, focuses a lot on that. And so there's numerous success stories that we can maybe point stuff to about how that has happened throughout this. But as the MEDC evolves into the post-COVID, as much as we can be in that right now, the post-COVID operating environment where businesses are back open, albeit maybe at reduced in-person or overall staff levels. But the ways that companies have begun to think through, all right, this is how we're going to respond, and what we're doing to make sure that we're supporting that.
We actually are out of time, so we don't give Bobby much time here to follow up. But is there anything you want to add to that, Bobby?
Just finally, just how proud I am of most of these manufacturers being able to pivot so quickly, from distilleries to even Petoskey Plastics, making isolation gowns. I think it really is a great highlight to say, Michigan is not only automotive, and we are able to develop the engineering base to produce really anything in the state.
Traditional four-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life, but LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.